And welcome to The Bottom Line, where we unpack some of the main business and economic stories of the day. Recent years have ensured so much focus on bringing down CO2 emissions that envisaging any delays in any form for any reasons to these sorts of regulations seems outlandish. Poland's presidency in the EU begins in January, and one matter Poland needs to urgently address is the ETS2 regulation, part two of the emissions trading system, which has become a somewhat contentious topic. To tell us more about Poland's concerns regarding ETS2 is Jan Szyszko, Polish Deputy Minister of Development Funds and Regional Policy. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us in the studio.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So let's begin with what are the Polish government's primary concerns regarding the implementation of ETS2?
Well, we're looking at the ETS2 regulation as it is envisaged right now and the plans it has. I think that at the core of the problem is the logic that we believe that the green transformation should be carried out by, and it is my firm belief that we are on the route of green transformation in order to achieve a better standard of living, to be more competitive as Europe, and to just live in a better place at the end of the transformation. At the same time, policies such as the ETS2, well, they carry a very high cost to the regular people. The way that they are designed makes the cost even higher for the less wealthy citizens of Europe. They are not proportionately spread out across the member states, meaning countries such as Poland, such as Slovakia, which rely on emissions and on fossil fuels in to a larger extent to heat their houses, to run the cars, will need to pay more. And we believe that carrying out the green transition by the method of a stick at this stage is fairly dangerous to the process itself, to the social support or the public support for the process, and puts at risk its achievement in the fastest possible time. That's why we need to talk about it.
So what can be done about it? What are your ideas?
Well, we're looking at several routes. First of all, we want to use the presidency of the Council of the European Union, which formally is about moderating discussion rather than proposing concrete solutions. But moderating the discussion gives a very special position around the table, which allows to pinpoint to the most important topics and raise awareness about the issues. Of course, one route is giving more time to adjust and postponing the ETS2.
So a transition period.
The transition period, yeah. We'll be very open to a discussion on that. Another route is to have sort of price corridors for the less wealthy, just making sure that if and when we introduce the ETS2, the prices are not paid, or the price is not paid by the people who simply cannot afford it, for the less wealthy families or the people who are living far away from the big cities, and having a car for them is not a matter of choice; it's just a necessity to access the school, the doctor, to go to work. We don't want to come up with a situation where people are more excluded because we embarked on a green transition that might be carried out just a tad too fast.
So do you think that 2027 is simply too early to implement ETS2?
It's very early, yes. We are very vocal about the fact that it should be, we should have some, perhaps more time to.
So when do you think would be the right time to implement ETS2?
Well, and that would be a matter of discussion with our European partners, and to see what we can come up with. 3 years, 2 years more to transition would already give some more time to see. But I think we also need to think about the paradigm, or perhaps a change of the paradigm about thinking about the green transition. Do we really want to carry it out at this very early stage by the method of a stick? Should really the price of a transition be paid equivalently and proportionally by a less wealthy family in Poland and a more wealthy family in, say, the Netherlands, Denmark, countries that are far way ahead in the green transition comparing to our region. I think that a method of one fits all, or one solution fit for all, is not perhaps the best for a continent so diverse Europe.
So do you think the most important thing is to implement ETS2 later, or do you think the greater priority is to introduce a transition period, or should lowering the price cap be the way forward?
The greatest priority
How
is
would
not
you grade
to...
these priorities?
I mean, at the top of this pyramid would be not introducing it in 2027 in the form envisaged right now. And then, of course, there are different routes to revise the ETS2 so that it's the transition period is longer, and so that there are more suitable mechanisms that would make this transition easier for those who have the hardest road to go up to in the transition.
Do I understand you correctly? Are you suggesting that perhaps the regulations should be revised, restructured, depending on how far each country, each member state is in terms of its energy transition?
Well, regulations are political decisions, or are the results of political decisions, and political decisions are to be changed often. And this is not to criticize the commitments and decisions of the European Union in the past. I think that, yes, indeed, we do need to embark on the green transition and need to go clean. That's why we are investing so much in the offshore wind farms and helping people to go green as Poland. However, I think that it's super important to not do the transition at the cost of the less wealthy, because this is the shortest way to give, right-wing populists or extreme populists from any kind the fuel to criticize the European Union and to build their support on people's discontent by how big ideas have been, perhaps in a too big extent, introduced at their cost.
Do you think the price cap should go down to 35, lower?
Well, that's very specific, yeah, from 45 to...
I want some numbers.
You see, with the presidency ahead, it wouldn't be, it would be fine or wise for me to say that it should be 37, 35 or 33.
An optimal number.
An optimal number could be lower than what it is right now, and should be lower than what it is right now. But I think also for the benefit of the negotiations ahead, it's always good to discuss this number with our partners from France, from Germany, from other member states before going out public with it. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're all doing this, and we're all having this conversation from a very pro-European perspective. It is my firm belief that if we carry out the green transition in a way that is acceptable by the citizens of Europe, this is the only way to actually have it done. Because if we go too fast, if we put too much cost at some social groups, then we are faced with protests, with public anger, as we were with the Green Deal a year or a year and a half ago in many member states. And a lot of effort that was put in the green transition might just backfire, and we might go back in the process a couple of years as a result of the public protests. We don't want that. I think it's best for the European Union, for the support of the project and for the benefit of the project, to listen to the voices of different perspectives in the European Union, also of those who are saying that the cost of the transition is too high.
In regards to this conversation, do you have allies in the EU? Have you actually spoken to anyone? Any names you could give us in terms of this discussion?
Well, I mean, it's not very surprising that countries who have a similar energy mix and a similar geographical position on the map to Poland would be thinking very likewise. They would be the coalition of the like-minded would be probably in this region. But I mean, we are talking with German regional governments. We're hearing voices in the larger member states of the European Union saying that this cost is too high for them. I mean, if we all want Europe to be more competitive, to catch up to the United States, to be more competitive than China for our companies, to be more competitive than Chinese firms, than the US firms, we need to make life easier for them.
Is there a coalition that might form?
Well, that's how the European Union runs. It runs by coalitions. We would hope to form a coalition that would definitely have to involve as well as countries from our region, also the ones from from the west of Europe, and we are working on that. And nothing is said, and there are no hard declarations at that stage, but there probably will be there, and hopefully there will be there in the near future. But if we want Europe to be more competitive and European companies to be more competitive, we need to make life easier for them. And the ETS2 is a mechanism that would make running businesses in Europe harder.
Okay, Jan Szyszko, thanks so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thanks.
And that was Jan Szyszko, Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Funds and Regional Policy, here with us today. Thanks so much for joining us. I was your host, Marie Cato. Join us again tomorrow for Business Arena at 5 p.m. CET on TVP World for the latest in regional business. Follow us on X and on tvpworld.com. And for more news and features, stay with us on TVP World. Goodbye.